Cosmic Crucible Season 7 is starting next week, or at least it was supposed to. The new rules are out, so what are the best things that you should be putting on offense and on defense so you can climb as big as possible? Today, I have the Cosmic Crucible expert with me, Brother Jgiusti. And if you're ready to see what are the best things to do in Cosmic Crucible next week, Brother Jgiusti, let them know what to do.
Let's go smash it.
And welcome back to the ValleyFlyin channel. I am ValleyFlyin. This is Jgiusti. I hope you are having a great day. In this video, we're talking all about Cosmic Crucible. The new rules are out. What you should put on defense, what you should put on offense. I got the expert in Cosmic Crucible with me, Brother Jgiusti. But before we get to all the best things for your offense and defense in Cosmic Crucible, if you haven't done so already, hit that subscribe button for more great Marvel Strike Wars content. At least 5 Marvel Strike Wars videos per week on the channel. Usually there's more. Jgiusti, what do you think of these new rules for Cosmic Crucible?
I would say that the initial thought is that they're a little lighter. I think we're gonna have a very offensive meta, focused meta as we get on. And I think at the same time, I think the biggest thing that we're gonna notice is that people were used to using Hive Mind on offense.
Yeah.
As a bonus team, and you no longer have that. So we're gonna have to change some things up for that.
And last season was all about the Superior 6. Hive Mind did have that tag as well. All the symbiotes actually. This season, it's all about the Cabal and the global rules this season. Cabal on offense, defense, Cabal characters with vulnerable on a successful hit, apply vulnerable to a maximum of 5, and when below 25% health, 200% extra damage and lower armor by 50%. They turn into glass cannons. Villain characters also on turn. If any Cabal character are allies, you're gonna barrier for 10% of their max health. And of course, the normal global rules that we have for more health on offense and defense applies. What do you think of these global rules? Do you think Cabal is ever gonna have vulnerable to have this actually used, or drop below 25% to actually get that bonus for their health or for their damage?
It takes a pretty huge team to make Cabal even struggle with it. And I think a lot of times once you get that big of a counter, you instantly just put Kang in there and you don't care. So I don't know if that rule doesn't, because once you put Kang on there, the team's on steroids and it wins. It just wins, right? It has to be like Dorm, Sus, Black Knight, Epoch, all in one room. That's the only way that team is going to lose to. Cabal is going to lose this season. That's just how insane they are.
Yes, I don't think Cabal is going to lose very much this season unless you really misplay this. Let's talk about Room 1 though. Room 1 on offense, defense, striker characters with ability to block. They're going to gain more damage. I don't think striker is going to be a very popular class here, Jgiusti. Raider characters on turn. If any character has ability to block, clear ability to block, and heal self for 10% of this character's max health. Skirmisher characters on successful attack, apply ability block. Which class do you think is going to get the most use in this room? Striker, Raider, or Skirmisher?
I think Skirmisher is probably obviously the better offensive power. But I think Striker on defense might be better because of that extra damage.
Okay.
Raiders, I mean, it's kind of a mix. It adds fun to it, but it's not a very cumbersome room roll, right? So it's just almost like a blank room. Like if it works, it works. If it doesn't, who cares? This is not where you're going to focus your firepower.
Now, what Dorky Dad was saying yesterday, this is the room to make us spend a lot of ISO 8 ions because we could be switching a lot of different classes, Striker, Raider, and Skirmisher. Do you see it pretty much set for defense and offense in this room, or do you see a lot of change happening over the season in this room as well?
I think that this is probably this fifth place room.
Okay.
Only so it's not like everything is a striker goes crazy room. It's a nice way to create RNG, and unless you're in super competitive, you're probably not changing your ISOs on everything. Okay,
gotcha. On your channel, we're going to talk a little bit more about a defensive minded setup. We're going to talk a little bit more offensive minded. So in room 1, what you said is this team will work. So kind of a combination between the Unlimited X-Men and Phoenix. Why do you like this starting off next week as far as a offensive minded person?
So this is just a good team. It takes still an old school Master Key team, so it has the ability to pull a Masters of Evil, New Warriors. It spreads your opponent thin, especially if they turtle. Then they find themselves struggling against this because they have to use lesser tunes to beat it, and it's not. Gambit and Rogue are still very dangerous combo.
Now, in looking at ISO 8s for these characters, more strikers just for the removing the ability block, or where would you have these characters ISO? I didn't look at the ISO when setting up this room.
So I would actually leave that pretty close to the same as you have it right now. Skirmisher, Umbra, Dazzler. Everything looks good. The only caveat would be if you have a Phoenix in there or a Jubilee, you want to lower their ISO to green. So if you have something like Skirmisher 1, drop that to 1 so they lose health. So because if they get pushed, that just makes a fight more challenging.
Gotcha. So unfortunately, the test server, everything's maxed out, so we don't have any greens, but Phoenix would be a green if you had that. Let's move on to the next room. Raid on Crucible. On offense and defense, all characters, room counts as raid, lower resistance to healing by 50%. So this is the old room 2 from a few seasons ago, except at the bonus of lowering resistance and healing by 50%. Bifrost was horrible in this room before. What are you recommending for this for someone that's more offensive minded for starting off week 1, Jgiusti?
So there's 2 raid teams that reign supreme in here. There's going to be Pegasus and there's going to be Bifrost. So I would pick Bifrost just because Pegasus actually has value outside of raid rooms. Bifrost virtually has no value outside of this room. So at least then you could use Pegasus to counter this, or you could, if they have something weird in 2, then you can always just move Pegasus over to beat something else.
Do you just use whatever you're not using to counter this room? So if someone has Bifrost on defense, use Pegasus counter and then vice versa?
Yes, so what you do is you drop Kestrel for somebody else. Usually a pick is going to be like Quicksilver, Kang, APOC in there to really make that fight clean. If you have Kestrel in there, Kestrel gives them safeguard and then they fight through it. On the flip side, Bifrost will be Pegasus because Pegasus will Bifrost will have the safeguard immunity.
All right, now room 3 on offense and defense, all characters on turn. If his character has taunt, gain offense up, and on turn apply assist down to all allies with offense up. What comes to mind when you think of these rules for this room?
I think that there's 2 teams that really shine in here, and that's going to be Extreme, and it's going to be Superior 6.
Okay.
My only warning to you is Superior 6 is flexes better to offense, and so this is a very offensive-minded defense, and so that's how Extreme ends up in here. But those are probably the main 2 that are going to have value, that are still meta to use in this room.
And one thing you noted about Jubilee, you want her with a low ice weight, something green, right?
Yep.
Okay. All right, next room, Unstable Energy. On offense and defense, villain characters, ultimate abilities cost 2 less ability energy, lower max health by 25%. So they get to do their ultimates more, but they have less health, so less survivability. What stands out to you for this room for someone more offensive minded next week?
So this is a great place to put Black Knight because of the less health. So a lot of the tunes that are coming in to counter Black Knight right now are villains. And so this pushes them back, right? Because now Black Knight is a lot more scary because Black Knight can one-shot you, especially if you find yourself fighting a 3-diamond, 2-diamond Black Knight. I mean, I had tunes that were getting pushed into red that are 2-diamond, 3-diamond myself, and so that's going to be very scary. And so you're already achieving your goal because they're probably going to bring Ball into this room, and so Black Knight here does what it needs to do. They can't cheap out on it.
And room 5, Flashbang. On offense and defense, all characters with blind lower that character's speed by 5%, armor by 25%, and ultimate abilities apply blind to the primary target. Ooh, there's some nasty ultimate abilities. What are you thinking for this room for someone more offensive minded this week, Jgiusti?
I think Infinity Watch fits in here well for just being a good defensive team.
The cockroaches of Marvel Strike Force.
Yep, this team will refuses to die. Of course, there's better options. I think that there are tunes that are faster, that do a lot of things, but also a lot of those are either traditionally offensive minded or you're going to have to start turtling to really take advantage of this room further than just like Infinity Watch. Hopefully they open with some of their ultimates pretty quickly, so you get some opening blinds, things like that.
So you said Infinity Watch may not be the best team for this room, but is this the best room for Infinity Watch? If you have to use your Infinity Watch on defense somewhere, is this the best room for them?
Yeah, their best room is either 5 or 1. I think you take advantage of 1 a little bit better than 5, so I think that's where you want to put Identity Watch here.
All right, and last room. This is a long one. On offense and defense, all characters on crit apply bleed to the primary target. And if the Ghost Riders are an ally, if character has bleed, you're going to gain 20% armor. And all the Ghost Riders are going to apply 20% crit chance to allies. Ghost Riders are a factor in this room. Are you using any of them for defense?
Yeah, so I think there's only one that's really that good, and that's going to be Ghost Rider Robbie.
Okay.
The rest of them just don't do a whole lot, even when they're welled out. Definitely not the old Ghost Rider.
Okay, and leading into Secret Defenders with Dormammu for that revives, and then MILF, I'm assuming just for some annoyance for your enemies.
She actually creates a trap for new warriors because so what happens is now you have to kill them MLF twice before she goes, because once she ults, she flips all the new warriors buffs to bleeds, and then Robbie goes insane and kills them. Robbie will take like 2 turns once MLF ults, and the new warriors are glass cannons. They can't survive it usually.
Oh, that sounds nasty. All right, hopefully there's a nice solution that offensive people have for this.
This kind of goes back to the idea of this is more traps. Like, it's very easy. Like, you can beat 6 with like Superior 6 or Masters of Evil APOC or something like that. But if you're defensive minded, that room's gonna be a struggle because you don't have new warriors to beat it. You probably have to sack it and then new warriors or something like that.
All right, so that was a more offensive minded setup. I think that's what I'm gonna do. We're gonna go over a more defensive minded setup on Jgiusti's channel. Any final words with this season of Cosmic Crucible, Jgiusti?
Yeah, so I think that one of the things, especially if going more offensive minded, is you got to remember, like, as you go throughout the season, look at what you have left over. What you have, if what you have left over is better than what you used on defense, or you can start moving that to offense, right? So you start the season off more offensive minded, and you start putting those things that were left over, or you could have subbed out for a little less efficient of a counter, and then stuck that on defense. That's how we create more difficult rooms. But if you want to enjoy the first week of Cosmic Crucible, I would avoid turtling too hard, and this might be the better video, because when you turtle hard, you have to deal with just as bad of a defense, and usually it's very, very challenging. Stacking is just not as fun.
Yeah,
stacking is just not as fun as just going 6 for 6.
Yeah.
It's just the truth. It feels so much better to go 6 for 6.
I agree. All right. Well, we're gonna go check over some more defensive setups with more tips for Cosmic Crucible over at Jgiusti's channel. If you got some value from this video, leave it a like. It is free for you. Helps out the channel a lot. And if you want to check out what are the best things to farm at each store, Marvel Strike Force, check out the video up there, and I'll see you guys next time. Have a great rest of your day. Are you ready for a fist bump, Brother Jgiusti?
Yeah.
All right, here we go. Hug fist bump, ValleyFlyin, and Brother Jgiusti out. Have a great rest of your day, guys.